This is number 9 in my countdown, the top 50 games in my collection. This is Pillars of the Earth. It's based off of a book by the same name by Ken Follett. And there's a Stars TV miniseries on the Stars channel that also goes over recreates the first book, and it's pretty good. But to this game, this is a worker placement game, and I've only played this 3 times, I think, and it's ranked this high. I just got this copy myself, and really enjoy it. But it's not the highest rated worker placement game on the list. Spoiler alert. So the way this game works is you're in England in the 11th century, 12th century, and you are building a cathedral, and you earn points. You're essentially the master builders that are constructing the cathedral. You'll get the majority. It's a victory point game where you will earn points by doing different things. Most of them are you earn victory points by turning in resources for victory points. Like you'll start the game with 3 craftsmen, and you can recruit more craftsmen as the game goes on. But the 3 that you start with, everybody starts with the same, is the woodworker, and he lets you turn in 2 lumber from the forest for a victory point. Stonecutter lets you turn into granite from the quarry. Mortar mixer lets you turn in 3 gravel for a victory point. So there's how many 3 main phases in each round. There are 6 turns in the game, and there's this cathedral that's in the middle is actually the turn counter. So it'll start out with just the 1, and then turn 2 begins. You will add that, and then turn 3 you will add that, and then turn 4 you'll one of the towers, and one of the towers, and the roof, which is unique. And other than that big 6-piece chunk of wood in the middle of the board has no purpose other than that, but it's kind of cool because it fits thematically. So the first action, first phase of the 3 parts is there are craftsman cards and resources down at the bottom. So you get to pick one. First player will pick one, next one, and they'll let you assign workers to the forest or the quarry. It's a worker pile or a craftsman pile, or to the gravel pit, and then you'll get some resources. And any craftsman you get, you'll add to your pile. You can have no more than 5, and as the game goes on, you'll replace some of the ineffective ones or less effective ones with more effective ones that may come up. Then part of the game that I was really intrigued by is the master builder assignment. So you're going to have a certain number of master builders. Every player gets 3, and they're all put in this black bag. The money that you have for the game is actually tracked on the board. You don't get coins or paper bills like in other games. These down at the bottom here tracks how much money you have, which is different. I'm not sure I like it, but it works for the game. So the other thing down here is this interesting arc. So what happens is you reach into the bag, you pull one out, and it's red. Now the red player would have a choice to either place on one of the multiple places on the board where he wants to put his worker, his master builder, or he can pass. And if he passes, well, let me back up. If he puts it down, it's going to cost him 7 gold to put him down because he was picked so early. Or he can pass. So say he passes, so he goes there, and then this little marker goes to the 6. So now it'll be 6 gold for this person. the yellow player, and the yellow player says, I'm going to pass. 6 is a little too much. Then the next one comes out, and it's red again. He says, okay, I can afford red, and then he puts his worker down, claiming the spot, and then no one else can go there. So it's interesting, and then it goes through, and then once it goes past 0, once it goes to 0, then you just pick, and everybody's going to put their workers out, and then anybody that had said they passed would get to place in that order their workers out. So it's a neat mechanic that if you get drawn early, do you really want to spend the money, or do you want to wait? Because the money will come in handy to buy certain things as the game goes on. So there's I mentioned a bunch of different places that you can put your worker. You can put him in the archbishop's seat, so you can send him to talk to the archbishop. And there's an event stack of event cards, 1 per turn, that show up. And if you've got a worker here, you can choose to ignore the effect of this card. Now, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, so it's good to have somebody there, but you're not always guaranteed to avoid something. You can place them here at Kingsbridge, and you get to take one of these 2 cards that are advantage cards. They will help you in different ways. You could go to the Kingsbridge Priory, and that just is straight victory points for each one you put there. You could send them to the King's Court, and the first one that goes to the King's Court gets a piece of metal as a resource, in addition to the other ability. Everybody that sends somebody to the King's Court gets to avoid the tax. There's a die roll, and you'll lose either 2 to 5, depending on what's rolled, coins to a tax, unless you have somebody there. There's the shiring, just making sure I was reading it right, where there's other craftsmen that you can purchase, or that you can select if you have a worker there. You can go to Shiring Castle, and you'll get extra workers. The more workers you have, each player will have a certain number of workers that you, not to be confused with craftsmen, which are the cards, and master builders, which are these. These are just the workers that let you harvest the resources from the 3 locations. There's a resource market here where you can buy and sell extra resources if you need money, or if you have too many resources and you don't have the cards that let you turn them in for victory points. Or you can go to the change starting player, which would let you go first, then have the first selection in the next round of these starting cards. So once all the master builders are out, then you actually go through the round, and there's a specific order into 1, you flip the event card, 2, you check the archbishop's seat, 3, and it's all listed right on the board, so it flows really, really smooth. You can play 2 to 4 players. Takes about 2 hours, but it flies by. There's not a lot of downtime. The turns are quick because you're just waiting for the guy to be drawn, and then you just work your way around the board, and then you set up for the next round. You reshuffle these cards. You put 2 new craftsmen out, 2 new craftsmen here, 2 more advantage cards here, and you're on to the next round. So it's a clean worker placement game. It's got a good theme behind it. Difficulty on 1 to 5, I'd say, is about a 4. Age 14 up, because I don't think kids younger would get into the theme of building a cathedral. There's better worker placement games for the younger crowd. So yeah, that's number 9, Pillars of the Earth. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for number 8 for the kids.